Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at another couple of tools that you can use to enhance and to help you design and run your games. Now, before we begin, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Would really appreciate that. Right, let's get on with it. A little while ago, I posted a video featuring a couple of neat little gaming tools called Wallet Dungeons and Wallet Monsters, which were these very small cards, sort of business card size, which provided a quick, easy, clever way to instantly create a dungeon or to make your monsters or villains more interesting very quickly. And like I say, these could fit in your wallet, hence the name. Well, shortly after that video was released, the designer, David Lombardo, contacted me. He thanked me and basically said, "You forgot one. You're missing one." And I kind of replied, "I didn't. Did I? Did I miss one? I didn't see another one." He then goes and sends me a physical copy of another one of his products, which is the big brother of Wallet Dungeons, and it is called A Traveler's Guide to the Echelon Forest. Dun, dun, dun. Now, this is a product which is very similar to Wallet Dungeon, where you can randomly create a forest for your games. Now, many thanks to David for sending me this. I know that shipping to this part of the world can be a little bit scary sometimes, but I love when I can actually get physical products instead of just downloading and printing PDFs all the time. So again, many thanks to David for this. He also sent me a physical copy of another one of his products, which I think I'll be featuring in a future video. Haha, shh, secret. Oh, and any other game designers and publishers, please feel free to send me stuff. No promises of videos for everything, but like I say, money's very tight for me, so I really do appreciate things that are sent, and I will try my best to show them on the channel. I do have a couple of other things that I have been sent that I haven't done videos for yet, though I am planning to. But yeah, send stuff my way if you'd like it to feature on the channel. Right, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at The Traveler's Guide to the Echelon Forest, a small little booklet. Also, there is another AwkwardTurtle product that I feel can and should be added to your randomly generated forest, and that is called Waypoints. Yeah. So like I say, we're going to be featuring two AwkwardTurtle products today, two tools that we can use. Now, both of these gaming tools can be found at Itch. The Echelon Forest, this PDF you can download is, I think it's $5. If you're familiar with Itch, sometimes you can find community copies for those who are low on cash or maybe who are looking for review copies and things. Now, on the Echelon Forest page, it does have a community copies part, and it does say that if we send him a picture of our created forests, he will put community copies up for free downloads. So I'm hoping that this video maybe could put a few community copies up. Let's hope so. So yeah, the Echelon Forest, this is going to be a $5 download. The Waypoints, this is a free or pay what you want download. What do you get? Well, I mean, the Waypoints is a single page PDF. That's it. That's all you get. But it's well worth a look. We'll have a look at this a little bit later. The Echelon Forest, you will get, I think 4 files. I think it's 4 files as a PDF. You'll get single page, which is 32 pages. I think you get, color and black and white, or like sort of print friendly. You also get a booklet format, which is 16 pages, which you can print out like this, like a book. And I think there's also 2 versions of that. I'll have to double check and see exactly. But yeah, you'll be getting both single page and booklet formats in your download. And at the back, you get another variant of the dungeon generator, or the wallet dungeon. What does that mean? Well, what that means is we now have 3 versions of this thing. You've got the 2 that I featured in the previous video. Again, don't want to move that, sorry. Yeah, we've got the same front, essentially, but we have another set of information for the back. So we've got 3 different versions of this now, each with different details and things that we can use to create dungeons with. Amazing. Also, in the back of the book, and again, this is going to be a sneak peek, you've got an example of what we're going to be doing, an example forest that's been created. But we're going to be doing one on camera. We're going to be creating our own forest. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at these 2 AwkwardTurtle tools. Let's start with the forest book, or booklet. So inside this small 32 including the front and back cover, inside here is all you need to create your own forest, or maybe a section of a forest that you can then inhabit with gribblies and ghosties, traps, treasure, NPCs, and everything in between. Now, the tool gives you the ability to create this framework, or this skeleton for your forest, with essentially locations and paths between the locations. It also provides a specific, strange and magical background that you can choose to use, which is essentially the Echelon Forest. Or you can use this to create a more generic forest, which may or may not have magical elements, and which you can then customize to suit your RPG, your game world, your system, whatever. So, okay, enough of the intro and the background. Let's make a forest. Now, to do that, we are going to follow a number of steps, and this is given to you on page 6. So these are the steps that we have to follow to actually create this forest using this book. Some of the steps are optional, like I say, if you're going to be using, doing your own generic forest, or a forest for your own setting. If you follow all of them, you're basically creating the Echelon Forest for this specific theme. But we're going to be creating a forest using these, following all the different steps, and we'll go through step by step, and I'll explain what I'm doing. I do apologize. I had the fan on. I normally turn the fan off when I'm recording, so I hope there wasn't any background noise there. Oh yeah, over here it's really hot, so we have to have ceiling fans and aircon. But the fan can sometimes cause problems when it blows into the microphone, so I do hope that it wasn't an issue just then. Right, now we are going to be creating the forest, following the guidelines inside the book. And what we're going to be doing is showing you step by step how to do it. Okay, I would recommend using a minimum of A4 size paper, but of course you could use larger if you want, if you've got more dice. But they recommend rolling a minimum of 8 dice. I'm going to go with 9 for reasons I'm going to show you in a second. So what you do is you roll these dice onto the paper. Okay. And then what you're going to do is draw a line through a single dice so that there are equal numbers of dice on each side. Now, this is not a very good roll, if I have to be honest, so I'm going to roll that again. Don't worry about me. That's a bit better. So, equal numbers. Okay, I'm just going to rearrange them slightly. Okay, so that is going to be the single dice where I have equal numbers on either side, hence why I'm using 9 dice. Because then I've got 1 for the center and I've got 4 either side. Now, that die in the center here is going to be called the meridian. Sorry, the heart. And the line that you draw to separate is going to be a meridian. So this is going to be the heart. So what I can do is I can draw a center line very badly. That's going to be the heart of the forest, the center of the forest. And then these are going to represent locations. Excuse me. So now what we do is we have to draw paths between the rest of the dice. Now, there are rules for the paths. So basically, you're creating paths between locations. Now, here's the rules. 1, a path connects 2 dice only. Paths, number 2, paths cannot cross each other. 3, paths cannot cross the meridian, so I cannot draw a path from this dice to this dice. And any one location cannot have more than 3 connected paths. Simple rules to create a certain structure for your forest. The furthest dice from the heart on either side are going to be the entrances, or the entrance and exit. So this is going to be one of my entrances. So I'll put this here, entrance. And on this side, it's going to be this one. So this will be I'm going to put exit, but it could be another entrance depending on how you want to go about it. Or maybe how things go when you're rolling up the locations. So that's what these dice are showing us in terms of entrance, exit, and this was going to be the heart. So we now got to draw paths. So how do I want to join these together? Well, I'm kind of thinking of maybe 2 paths to the heart here. So we'll have a path there, a path there, a path here, there, and should I go? Let's do a path like that. So from the entrance, we've got one option, but then we have a fork we can choose. On this side, I'm thinking, well, I mean, I think that's going to be a single path there, here. Do I want to link these 2? I don't think so. I'm going to go like this and then like this. Should I link these 2? I think I will. So there's going to be a path linking those 2 as well. Okay, so I've basically drawn the paths between the locations, and the locations are represented by the dice. So what else have we got? There is another rule, number 6. There must be at least one route connecting the 2 forest entrances. So there has to be at least one path that goes from the entrance to the exit, or from the entrance to the other entrance. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 potential routes. Okay, so we're fine. We've followed all the rules. We've satisfied all the requirements. Now what we do is we have to determine what each of these locations are. And the way that we do that is in the book on page 7. And we then find out what type of location and then what specific location. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly draw out or write down the dice onto the paper so that I can actually put the book onto the table. So bear with me a second. I'm just going to take the dice off and actually write down what they are. As if by magic, the dice disappeared. So what I've done is I've just taken the dice away, but I've written down exactly what the numbers were, just to make it easier for me to do with the book. So now we have to determine what each location is. So for each die, apart from the heart is a separate thing, okay? For each die, you've got to sum the connected dice to find the type of location, and then use the dice result itself for the specific location. If you have a duplicate, you basically then have to use the next entry on that type. So for example, let's take a look at the entrance. So for the entrance, we have to look at all the connected dice to find the type of location. Okay, so in this case, we're looking at all the connected dice. There's only one, and it has a total value of 1. So we go to the book, page 7, to find out the location type. A 1 tells us it is an abode. We then have to go to the abode page, which is on page 10. Okay, abode. And then we reference the actual number on that location dice to find out exactly what is in that location. So we have a lean-to. So this is a lean-to. A simple shelter constructed from local materials. Signs of a campfire remain inside, but otherwise uninhabited. Well, I mean, that's going to be our first location, and that is at the entrance to the forest. This tool doesn't give you much more than that. There's still a lot that you can add to this to customize, to add more flavor. Maybe you want to put an encounter here. As we enter the forest, maybe at this lean-to, maybe there is something there. You can change it, you can modify it, it's not a problem. But that is our first location, the lean-to abode. Let's move to the next area, the next location. We sum all connected parts. So in this case, it would be 5, 6, 12. So the total connected values is 12. So we go back to the book, we go to page 7, and a 12 is assorted, page 20, okay? So we go to page 20. We've now got a whole variety of random things here, and we have in this location a value of 1. Survival cache, an oilcloth wrapped package hidden in a lightly camouflaged location, tucked into an open tree trunk, or buried in a small hole. Contains pemmican bars? What the hell's a pemmican? Clean bandages, a utility knife, and a fire starter. Oh, fire starter! Twisted fire starter! Again, feel free to modify to suit your campaign or your game. But okay, so here we have a survival cache. Now, if at another location I would also end up with a survival cache, I would just take the next entry instead. Okay, so that's 2 down. Let's go to this one next. Connected values is a total of 6. So a 6 is another assorted. So we go here, it is number 6, a ranger's tower. A tower built of local materials stretching to just higher than the nearby trees. A ladder reaches up from the ground into the single room at the top, with open sides for good viewing. From this position, rough details of any adjacent locations can be seen. That's interesting, and that could be good for preparing to see what's going on. So we've got here Ranger's Tower. Okay. Next, we've got this one here. Combined connections again is 6. So again, assorted. And it's a value of 1. Okay, so this is what I was showing you just now. You can't have the same thing. So it is going to be another survival cache, but I can't do that. So we take the next one. It is a bottomless pit. An opening in the ground about 10 foot across, sides only visible a few dozen feet down before being swallowed by darkness. Anything dropped into the pit falls soundlessly before disappearing. Now, in your campaign or in your game, this could be hidden or visible. If it's visible, it should present maybe some kind of challenge to pass and continue on your journey. If it's hidden, hello, trap. That's a really serious trap. Right, so here we have a bottomless pit. Ooh, okay. Now, we're going from left to right. The next one is the heart. Now, the heart is a special location. You don't actually roll to see what it is. We'll come to the heart a little bit later. I mean, if you don't want to follow what the book says in terms of what the heart represents, you could just roll randomly for this or just follow what we're kind of currently doing. Oh, actually, hang on. Any given location cannot have more than 3 connected paths. Oh, the heart. Okay, I've got 4 connections to the heart. I don't think that's allowed. So we need to get rid of one of these paths. I think I'll get rid of this one. Yeah, that's a boo-boo. That's a mistake. One of the rules is that a location can't have more than 3 connected paths. So, yeah, sorry. That was a mistake on my part. Okay. So, like I say, if you don't want to follow what the rules say in terms of the heart in the Echelon Forest, it being a special location, I'll talk about it in a little while. You can basically just follow the normal rules to come up with what it is. In this case, what would it be? It would be a 6, 9, 10. That would be old ruins. Okay, old ruins. And then number 5, a crashed airship. I mean, your campaign may or may not have airships. If you really don't want to have airships in your campaign or your game, just take the next one. Unfinished ritual. But in the Echelon Forest, the heart of the forest is actually something special. So let's move on. Let's move on to, okay, let's go to this one here. Connected values is a total of 4. Old ruins. And it is a 3. A small dungeon. Oh ho ho! Dungeon time! So we could actually create that with our wallet dungeon. Or even the dungeon creator at the back, which is a variant. Excellent. Okay, so we have a small dungeon. What does it say here? Half buried in the earth and overgrown with trees. Optionally, use the dungeon generator. Dum, 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 or the wallet dungeons. Sorry, those are the big ones. Wallet dungeons. For a fully detailed location. Yes, definitely. Definitely use those tools. So this location is a small donjon. Okay. Great. Okay, the location up here, connected value is only 3. So a 3 is aquatic. Ooh. Aquatic. What does aquatic say? We have a value of 1. Natural spring. Crystal clear and ice cold water. Burbles? Burbles? Is that a word? Bubbles? From a small crack into a small stream below. Now, in a fantasy campaign, this maybe it could provide some healing. Maybe on your first drink only. Maybe it regenerates or cures maybe D3, D4, D6 hit points. Something like that maybe. So here we've got a natural spring. Now, it doesn't, like I say, it doesn't actually have anything in terms of like game related, but this is definitely one way that you can customize. So it says a natural spring. You could have it as being healing for your first drink only. Subsequent drinks, no effect, maybe, possibly. Who knows? Right, where are we now? We've got 2 more to do. We have this one here. Connected values is 5, 8, 9. Oh, okay, another aquatic. Don't even need to check. Aquatic, so 9, and this is a value of 3. Perky sap. Okay, you can get perky sap. Okay, slightly viscous water with a golden sheen flows slowly from a split in a tree trunk. It tastes slightly sweet and herbaceous and grants wakefulness and energy akin to a cup of coffee. You know what? I would probably, I don't know. There are so many ways that I could modify this and have fun with the party. Maybe having like a random effect. Because again, it says here, slightly viscous water, golden sheen, sweet, herbaceous. You could go crazy with this. You could have, or create your own little table. So maybe you have to roll a d6 to see what effect it has. Maybe it has a temporary transmute on the character where they would maybe transmute or change into a woodland creature for an hour. Maybe it will give you a +2 to your initiative rolls. Maybe it gives you a hardiness that lets you prevent the next, I don't know, 2 hit points of damage or 3 hit points of damage. And again, it would last for an hour or something. Or maybe it's another healing source. So many things you can do with this. But again, the tool here doesn't actually give you those specific game effects. It just gives you the prompt that you can then develop. So this is a perky sap. Okay, excellent. And the last one, the last location that we have to identify is, well, I've put the exit. It could also be the entrance. Let me just underline those. So connected values is 3 only. Oh, another aquatic. Okay. Again, we could come here and check 3, but it's another aquatic. Okay. And we've got the value of 1. Okay. Now we've already used the 1 value for the natural spring. So I would have to take the next one, which is mineral water. Slightly warm water flows in rivulets from the top of an isolated stone. A multitude of channels carved into the sides, giving it a strange, dappled texture. The water tastes heavy in minerals, and drinking it in large quantities causes bones to densify, eventually becoming unbreakable but heavy enough to sink in water. Ooh, that could be quite interesting. So the more that you drink, the more dense your bones become, maybe giving you some kind of natural armor or maybe some kind of natural resistance to impact. So things like a hammer, a mace could do less damage to you. But like it says here, where is it? Okay. Eventually becoming unbreakable but heavy enough to sink in water. So yeah, what you could do is for every time or as they drink more and more, maybe their body mass becomes higher and higher and maybe their weight increases. I mean, it's going to get to a point where they probably couldn't even walk, but they'd be invulnerable to damage kind of thing. Oh, excellent. Again, you can modify this and change this to your heart's content. Mineral, can't write. Mineral water. Okay, interesting. So again, when you're creating this forest and when you're creating the locations, you could actually make notes about things that you want to incorporate with your campaign or your game. Like I say, here, maybe a minor healing effect. Maybe here, some kind of random magic effect. Maybe here, you can increase your toughness or you can increase your armor class, whatever. But you move slower and maybe you get heavier. There's a lot of different things you can do here. Really, really interesting. The survival cache, again, the contents could be customized to your campaign. Really good. Okay, so we have determined each location using the content of the book. First, looking at the sum of the connections, and then looking at the value of the dice itself to find what exactly is there. Okay. What's next? We haven't finished yet. There's still quite a bit to do, but it's still fast and easy. What's next? Well, we've done the locations. Now, the paths. Yes, because the paths can be special as well. So for the paths, we have to go to page 22. And for each path, again, we have to look at the connected dice to find what the trail is. So, for example, this path here has a connected total of 6. So this path with a connected total of 6 would be a massive root. A wide tree root has pushed through the earth to create an easy path. Now again, these are all optional. If you just want your paths to just be normal, all through the map, you can do that. But if you want to add a little bit of flavor, something different, you can do this. So let's have a look. So this path is what does it say? Total of 6, massive root. Okay. I'm just going to label it like this so that it doesn't get mixed up. Okay. So a wide tree root has pushed through the earth to create an easy path. Nice. Now another thing that we can do is we can check in terms of elevation, steepness, gradient of the path. What you do is you look at the values of the dice, and again in the book it says this: elevation increases from low to high numbers, with larger differences being steeper paths. So what we have here is an elevation from 1 to 5, so that represents quite a steep gradient, I think. And again, what it recommends is that you do an arrow to represent the increase in gradient. So if I'm traveling from the lean-to entrance to the survival cache, I'm actually going to be going downhill. And it's quite a steep path, quite a steep gradient. So maybe a dexterity roll to kind of prevent falling and possibly injuring yourself. Okay, next, we want to look at this path here from the survival cache to the ranger's tower. So the total is 7. A game trail, a natural trail through the forest created by movement of wildlife. Okay, so we are going to label that, and it is a game trail. Okay, in terms of elevation, well, this is going to be extremely steep, and the elevation is going in that direction. So if I'm going from the survival cache here to the ranger's tower, that's going to be a really steep climb. So again, maybe I want to do some kind of strength test to see whether I can actually climb it, because that's a very, very steep gradient there. Okay, game trail. Next, we've got this path here. Now, this is not going to have any kind of gradient because the numbers are exactly the same. So this is going to be a level path, but the total is 2. The smallest one. A fairy trail. A carpet of soft moss edged by mushrooms which glow in the dark. Okay. Fairy trail. Okay. And like I say, there's no gradient here because the numbers are exactly the same. Okay, next we've got this path here from the ranger's tower to the heart. Total is 11. A dried riverbed. Hard-packed dirt and clay trace the path a river once took, prone to flooding. Again, that could actually play a part in your campaign, prone to flooding possibly. So this path is a dried riverbed. Okay. In terms of elevation, it's going that way, but it's a shallow gradient because the difference is only 1. See here, the difference is 5, the maximum. This is the minimum difference, apart from being level. So this is going to be a very shallow slope going in this direction here. Right, next. Okay, here we've got another steep gradient. I can tell that already from 1 to 5. Total is 6. Another massive route. Now again, unlike locations, you can have the same kind of paths. It doesn't matter. It's just the locations you want to do differently. So this is another massive root. And again, it's a fairly steep path here. All right, this path from the heart to the perky sap. We're going, okay, the elevation's going this way. Difference is 2, so it's not too steep, it's not too shallow. Well, I mean, it's fairly shallow. The difference is only 2. Not as shallow as this one, but it's still easy to walk, I think. So the total is 8. A stream, a small creek cutting a path through the forest, okay? So that's a simple one, stream. All right, next path we will do from here to here. Again, the numbers are the same, so there is no gradient. It is a level path. Total is 6. Another massive root. Okay. All right. Here, gradient is going this way, from low to high. Again, the difference is 2, so it's fairly shallow. Total is 4. Broken cobbles, smashed remains of some old reclaimed road. Okay. Broken cobbles. Okay. And the last path we have is from the perky sap to the exit here, the mineral water. The path elevation is going that way. So if we're going from the perky sap down to the exit, we're actually going downhill. The difference is 2, so it's not too bad, it's fairly shallow. Total is 4 broken cobbles again, okay? Okay. And that essentially is the design for your forest if you're doing it as a sort of generic forest. Again, if you're doing generic, you would probably do the heart the same as you do everything else. I think we said it was going to be old ruins, if I remember correctly. But if you want to do the Echelon Forest, then that heart is actually something very specific. Okay, so a couple of things we need to talk about in addition to the sort of general design of the forest. First of all is seasons. Seasons. So in the Echelon Forest, in this kind of theme, this background that David has provided with this product, the Echelon Forest doesn't necessarily have the same season as outside the forest. So if you want to kind of follow the background of this specific forest, then you would roll to find out what climate, what season it is within the forest itself, and then you can actually generate the weather. Another thing is that in the Echelon Forest, the heart of the forest is somewhere very specific. It plays a special role. It's linked with what we call the heartbeat mechanic that we'll come to in a second. But in generic forests, you don't need to bother with this. You can just have that central location as a place where maybe the party can rest. Maybe they will fight a mighty challenge, or maybe meet a friendly NPC, maybe a dryad. But if you're going to be doing the specific Echelon Forest background, then the heart of the forest is this massive tree linked with a dryad, the forest guardian. There is a way, again, he writes down here about ways that you can interact with the tree, the heart of the forest. But like I say, it's very specific to that background that David has done with this tool. But you don't have to do that. Like I say, you can just have that center dice, the heart of the forest, be randomly rolled up like the others, or maybe something of your own specific design. Not a problem. Now, if you're following the background, the Echelon Forest, then the heart has what we call a dump. Where are you? There you go. Heartbeat. And as you progress through the forest, you're going to have to check whether the time of day or night changes, if the weather stays the same or changes for better or worse. Also to see if forest locations and paths move. Yeah, this actually brings another kind of interesting mechanic to a forest. It has that chaos mechanic where you move from one location to another and suddenly it becomes night, or maybe the path changes and you end up somewhere else. That can actually happen if you use the included rules for what we call the heartbeat, the Echelon Forest special rules. So that is essentially how you use this Traveler's Guide to the Echelon Forest. It's very similar to the way that the wallet dungeons and the wallet monsters work, in terms of using the dice that you roll to physically create your dungeon, or in this case, your forest. But wait, there is something else that we have to talk about, and something that I mentioned at the start of the video. There is another AwkwardTurtle tool that would be perfect to add here. Maybe replacing one of the entries from old ruins, maybe replacing that airship. If you don't think that your campaign or your world has airships, this would be a good one to replace. Or maybe replacing one of the assorted entries. What am I talking about? Well, you know, it was at the beginning of the video. It's this, Waypoints. Now, this is another product from AwkwardTurtle. And like I mentioned earlier, it's a free single-page PDF. Pay what you want. If you have the money, contribute something for these guys. And this describes an interesting location that can be added to your game world, but also, I think, can and should be added to your forests. What does it say here? Place waypoints throughout the landscape of your world for players to discover. Add mechanics as necessary to match your system of choice. Yeah, this is a system-neutral add-on that, again, I think really suits adding to the Echelon Forest, or your generic forest, to replace one of the locations that you would be rolling up. These waypoints are buildings, small buildings, and they can provide a source of medical care, knowledge, transport, and even storage if you use them as written. And again, it'll be very easy for somebody to modify, to customize these to suit your own campaign. Now, as written here, and I do recommend you do use them as written because it's a very nice little system he has, a nice little design. These locations do have some random roll tables, which determine which of the facilities still work, and specific details about the rooms and their contents. You have mapping facilities, environmental controls, medical facilities, transport, cash, link, all these things. I'm not going to spoil everything for you because it's really interesting to read this, but it's written in such a way that you can really personalize and modify the waypoint to your own personal requirements or your game world's theme or setting. Also, when you're rolling to find out the condition of the waypoint to see what works and what doesn't, there is also an interesting way that he covers if you roll doubles or triples. But yeah, I do think that they work well together. So I do recommend actually getting both. Echelon Forest, I think, was $5 on itch. Waypoints is free. But together they make a very nice partnership, adding a waypoint to one of your locations that you roll up. Very, very interesting and very, very clever. So 2 very interesting little tools to add to the previously featured wallet dungeons and wallet monster. Well worth looking into, well worth the small expense. And like I say, even when these things are free to download or pay what you want, it's always worth, contributing a little bit of money for the effort that the designers put in. And these are suitable, all of these are suitable for RPGs, obviously, but also they could be used in any number of tabletop games, I think previously I used the wallet dungeons I did during the video. I actually used that dungeon that I created in my game of 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, which is a miniatures campaign game, tabletop miniatures game. So you can definitely use these for all types of games. I'll include links to the products in the description below. Many thanks to David once again for sending me a copy of the Echelon Forest. Much appreciated. And I hope you guys found the video interesting, fun, and worth replaying again and again. But yeah, I find that the creation of this forest is simple, easy, and something definitely worth looking to, and something that's definitely worth adding to your RPG tools. So guys, thanks once again for watching. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. Would really appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourselves, stay safe. Cheers.